Mary, how long have we known each other? 12?
You know, we actually only met a year ago, but I've been working for you for about 12 years.
Yeah. And, well, I think you were actually working for the company I was working for quite a while.
We work together.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And you have had a great relationship with everybody that works with you. Everybody loves you. But you've had a horrible relationship with your weight your whole life?
Pretty much. Once I started having kids, that was it. So.
And what happened? How you've been trying to lose the weight? How much weight you've lost how many pounds?
I've lost over 80.
What a miracle that is. How have you tried in the past?
Well, I've tried group programs. I've tried one-on-one programs. I even went to my doctor who put me on diet pills and tried that as well. And my problem is I'm an emotional eater. And I'm very emotional around my kids. My kids are my world. So anything that impacts them impacts me. And so I would always, take care of them. And then I'd go and I'd have a chocolate cake or a cupcake or cookies. I'm from the generation where, here, have a cookie and you'll feel better. And so that's how I've lived most of my life.
My grandmother used to be like that.
Yeah.
She loved us through food.
Yeah. And yeah, it tastes sweet, but it's got some lasting impacts. And unfortunately, I was like that with my kids, so I'm trying to change that.
So you used to say that your kids are your world and you're emotional about them. And I know that you had to have thought to yourself, I'm not going to be around for my kids unless I lose this weight.
Yeah.
Or did you not go there?
Every once in a while I would. My father actually passed away young, but my mother, and this is when it really, really came home to me. My mother, not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before, had actually had an aneurysm in her abdomen, and we had to take her to the hospital, and we tried to have it repaired, and the surgery was successful, but she ended up getting an infection, and she lingered for a couple of months. And so you want to talk about emotional eating. My mother was 100 miles away. I was still working. My oldest daughter's living with me, and she's very pregnant. So I'm going between all those places back and forth, and became very familiar with all the fast food places along the way, and was up constantly. And my mother got to the point where she just wasn't coherent. And then I get the phone call, "It's time, Mom." And my daughter doesn't have a partner. So I had to go back and be with her for the birth of my granddaughter.
Oh my gosh.
And stayed with her for 3 days, and then went back to my mom and was there when she passed. So it was like that 2-week period was the most emotional time. And the whole time I was with her, I kept on saying, because she's been the one that's kept the family together, and she wasn't going to be there. So how are we going to keep the family together? And then I look at my kids, because I've got 4 kids, and now I've got a beautiful granddaughter. How are my kids going to stay together? And that's when I knew I really had to do something. And it's really, I knew up here that I really had to. I'm seeing everything. But I went home, I did the emotional eating again. And I had the stress of, like, a month later, my youngest daughter says, "Mom, I want to get married in our backyard." And I said, "Oh, well, that's awesome." And she says, "In a month." So I had a month to put together a wedding. And it was the most fabulous thing. And we had the full spread of all homemade food. I did everything. My sisters came and helped me. And then 2 months later, I saw all the pictures, and that was it. I could not believe that this big, huge woman was me. And that's when I knew in here that I had to do it. And so I made a decision, and I had enough background where I was trying different things on my own because just going through everything else wasn't working. And then I came here and I heard about Simple2Lose and just started. And Michelle is so wonderful. Michelle is awesome.
Michelle is your health coach. She's my sister.
Yes.
So I know my sister is on top of every little detail of everything because she loves people so much.
Yes.
And she is just a servant at heart and just wants to help people.
She does. And there have been times that I've stumbled. And, you know, I admit it. I mean, I've been on the program now since November. So that is 10 months. And
10 months, 80 pounds.
yes. And because of that, I have had, you know, little things. And before I used to say, oh, well, that's it. Michelle made sure, okay, rein it in, Mary. It's okay. You made a mistake. Go ahead.
It's okay.
Get back on program. And, you know, she was always there whenever I needed to call and say, okay, what's going on? I could text her. I could call her. It was just, it's really, really nice to have that person there.
So tell me, because I have my own nutritional stuff that's in my life, and it's from a lifetime of eating poorly and doing the wrong things, and it's hard to change a lifetime of habit. What makes you feel that this time it's going to be different for you?
In everything else that I tried before, I always got to a point where I could never get below, which is 20 pounds ago.
Wow.
I've never been the weight I am right now on my journey back.
Wow.
So
Good
that,
for you.
thank you.
Huge psychological barrier.
Yes, and a lot of it in the past, when I've tried the other programs, I did it because I knew it was healthy. I knew I needed to be there. I knew up here. Now it's down here. And if it's not here, it's not going to work. It doesn't matter if you've got the most awesome coach in the world. If you don't feel it, if you don't feel that you need to do it, it's not going to work.
How is this, what are the healthy habits? Because I mean, I got a refrigerator full of carrots and pears and apples, and I don't eat them.
Yeah.
And my wife is, before I, you know, had a gun to my head with my doctor saying, hello, my wife, I would eat differently around my wife. I would eat the healthy way because I know she's going to say, but what are the healthy habits now that you have incorporated in your life that you say, I understand them here, but I also have them here, and I didn't necessarily meld those two together before.
The first thing that I learned in this, and I'd always heard it before, but now I've actually experienced it, is as I was growing up, you had a big breakfast, you had a big lunch, you had a huge dinner, and then you had the dessert afterwards. I mean, they were like, you know, huge platters. Now I have a small meal. I have 6 small meals a day, and you start from half an hour after you get up. And
Just that understanding is amazing, isn't it?
yeah.
When you understand the idea of how your body burns fuel.
Yeah.
And if you don't put that fuel in the gas tank, it's never going to rev up the rest of the day. You've
Right.
got to have it in the first 30 minutes.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and that's been the biggest change that I've incorporated in my life. And now, if I don't have that first meal, I'm looking.
Yeah, I know.
So I always am carrying something, either one of my meal bars or some beef jerky or something like that in my purse. So I've always got something with me in case I get to that point where, okay, it's time to refuel. and that's what it is. This is just an engine. It just needs to be refueled. So,
Can I ask you some personal questions?
sure.
Describe yourself 2 years ago.
Physically or emotionally?
Either.
Okay.
Both. They're connected.
2 years ago, I was very insecure. I wasn't outgoing. I wasn't talking to people. I spend a lot of time in my office, and it's okay to talk through the computer. It's okay to talk to the phone because they don't see you. And it's really funny because now I feel more confident in myself. I actually, for fun, have a second job where I go out and meet people. I don't care about the money, but I'm out there and I'm meeting with people. And it's something I would not have done a couple of years ago. So just that, it's kind of liberating.
Would you have been, when we were in Los Angeles and we all got together here recently, would you have gone to that 2 years ago?
No. I wouldn't have.
That was fun.
It was. It really was.
And why wouldn't you have gone?
I'm one of those type of people, like, even in family pictures, I always stood in the back so I could hide. Because I knew I was big, but, you know, so even with family, I was kind of a little bit behind. And to go out and meet other people, I wouldn't have felt comfortable.
And now you have your picture on TV.
I know, I was surprised. That was a surprise.
How does that? I'm sorry, that shouldn't have been a surprise. That's your problem, not mine. That's a problem. How did you feel about that?
Actually kind of stunned. The whole thing with having the two pictures is right after we met, and I felt that confident, I said, okay, I'm going to try on that dress that I wore at the wedding. And I put it on, I said, oh my God. And I had my daughter take a picture and send it to Michelle. Just because even though I've noticed some of the change, and yes, the clothes are getting baggy, and yes, I'm having
80 pounds is a totally different dress.
Yeah, it totally looked different, and it was like, I can't wear it now, because now it literally hangs on me. So.
I'm glad that you are alive, more than just your heart beating. You're alive.
Thank you.
Because you are, I mean it, you know Craig, who surprisingly, shockingly now works for me, but I used to work for him. And he's one of the best judges of people I know. And he has raved about you for a long, long time. And we want you around a long, long time.
Thank you. I want to be around a long, long time. I'm going to be around a long, long time.
That's great. You are charming.
Thank you.
You're charming.
You make it so easy.
She gets